Now let's go into our personal net worth statement. So if you click on the fill in or up here on the PNW tab, this is where you'll get into the module. These modules are designed to help you walk through how to fill out your PNW. If you want to download the PNW form from the USDOT website, you can and fill that out by hand and then enter in the information. Otherwise, it'll guide you through what to put down, download the form, sign it, and then re-upload it. There's two buttons that you have to pay attention to up here. This invite owner to submit PNW statement. If your owner wants to submit their own, you can click this button. You can invite them through a system alert if they already have a username, or you can invite them through their own email. Essentially, they'll have to create a password or a passcode that they have to remember to be able to log into the account. If they forget their passcode, you'll have to delete the PNW and start over. For this case, we're just going to add a PNW statement. I'm going to say add PNW statement. We're going to put the owner's name in. So now this is going to give you a brief description of how to use this tool. For technical assistance, security reasons, official instructions from the USDOT. Here's all these types of links, the helpful links to get you there. So you just want to click these boxes that you've reviewed everything. Okay, so now let's enter the owner's details. So the owner's name is Lando Planwright. Email address is wookieengineering@gmail.com. Owner's business phone number is 720-987-1234. Owner's phone number is 720-123-4567. Owner's residence address is 202 Naboo Crescent Street Crescent in Denver, Colorado. And this is 80206. Okay. He is married. We're going to check this box. So you're going to check this box if you want DSBO's assistance in looking at your PNW. So this will grant us access to your PNW so that we can help you out with it if you have any issues. If you don't need our help, you can uncheck it, but I would always recommend checking if you think you're going to need help assistance in finalizing the PNW. So we'll go ahead and hit save. So now you'll come to our module. You'll go through step by step in each one of these fill out forms. If you have issues with what we want, if you come back to our webpage, we have this nice handy personal net worth guide. So this will kind of give you instructions on how to submit it, some frequently asked questions, creating and uploading the PNW, tips for individual worksheets, and then a complete PNW statement with a bunch of tips as well. So this is our handy PNW guide that'll kind of walk you through common issues and common errors. But we'll go ahead and go through it right now. So first, cash. These are going to be all your banking accounts, savings accounts, money market, anything like that, any that's cash holding. So we'll say First Interstate Bank, and this is for personal, not business. And we'll put in a balance of $34,567. So the thing to be important on these is you only want to put in your value or your interest in this account. So if you're married and it's a joint account, you'll want to split that whatever is equitable. So if it's 50-50, if it's 70-30, whatever that ownership percentage is, you'll want to only reflect your ownership percentage. So this is his ownership percentage of this First Interstate Bank. So now we'll go ahead and save and return. And you can see green is gold. So once you see them green, you'll be good. So now you'll look at your investment accounts. These investment accounts are only going to be like a Robinhood, a Webull, Charles Schwab. These are going to be individual brokerage accounts that you own individual stocks. These aren't going to be retirements like IRAs, SEPs, 401ks, anything like that. These are specifically, brokerage accounts. So we do have a Charles Schwab. and we're going to say that it's a brokerage account, and the estimated value is $12,456. So we'll put that in there. If you want to put Robinhood, Webull, any of these other ones, you can see that there's a custodial account, stocks, bonds. For these types of things, you don't have to separate each individual stock holding unless you own the stock certificate. It's just going to be individual brokerage accounts. So your Charles Schwab, your Robinhood. So don't feel like you have to list out every stock that you own or every single individual bond that you own. It's just your total accounts. So we're going to hit save and return, and that's going to be green. Now we're going to do your value, ownership, and interest in real estate, excluding primary residence. So if you own any other types of properties, rental properties, shared properties, anything like this is where you'll put that property in. So you'll do like a single family home, an apartment, another business. You put in the address, the date acquired, the purchase price, your present market value. So for present market value, you can use Zillow, you can use Redfin, you can use market rate, you can use the value of the property from the county clerk's office. You can use any of those evaluation methods, and you can put that evaluation method here so we can confirm it. You also want to put on the name of all the mortgage holders. So if it's you and your wife own the mortgage, you want to put it on here, and you want to put your loan balance. Remember to only put your value of your home, of the home, on here. So if you have a rental property that's worth $500,000 and you share with your wife, put $250,000. Same with the balance. If the balance of the loan is $300,000, you would put $150,000 down. Lando doesn't have any other property, so we can put none. And then that'll suffice. So if you don't have anything to put in here, you can put none, and that'll make it green. Personal property. So this is where we go through our personal property. So this is going to be anything that you own in your home. So your artwork, your cars, anything like that. So for this case, so we have a Nissan truck. So we're going to own a car. Or say Nissan Rogue. It is insured. And our total present value is $15,000. And then we also have our household stuff. Now for household property, it's fair just to use general electronics, appliances, art, and jewelry. For this, you can use garage sale value. So think of, you can either use insured value, so what is your insured for, or what you would reasonably expect to get at a garage sale. So for this, we'll put down $22,000. So that you can fill it, it'll try to fill out your liabilities as well as you go through it. Ownership in other businesses. So if you have partial ownership in any other businesses, this is where you'll put them down on. We usually find these on your Schedule E's of your personal tax returns. So make sure if you have any other K1s or any other Schedule C's that you put these businesses on here. You'll put your business name, you'll put your address, you can put in parentheses how much you own if you want, and then you'll put your present value. So value is what you would expect to sell this business for. Otherwise, you can use what we call the book value, which is, if you look at the tax return, whatever the assets minus the liabilities on your balance sheet is. You might want to talk to your CPA about a present value of any other businesses, whether it's market value, whether it's your book value on your balance sheets, anything like that. You'll want to put this present value down because we'll verify that for you in the address and business name. Lando doesn't have any, so we'll go ahead and put none for now. Okay, now we're going to do life insurance. So Lando does have a life insurance through TransUnion. So it's a term life, and it's through TransUnion, but it doesn't have a surrender value. So your cash surrender value is if you have IUL, anything like that. If you have a cash surrender value, or if you cancel it, you'll get some money back. That's where you'll want to put this here because it will become an asset. This doesn't have a cash surrender value, so we'll go ahead and put 0. Amounts owed to you. So if you loaned out anything, if you have any business loans from your primary business or secondary business, any amounts owed to you from loans from other individuals or entities, including your applicant firm, this is where you'll disclose this. So if you did a shareholder loan, if you did a personal loan, anything like this that you have to get back, this is kind of where you'll put this in this form. So we'll hit none. Assets held in the trust. If you're a part of a trust, this is where you'll put the name of the trust, the descriptions of the assets, and then the value of that trust. We'll go ahead and hit none because there is no trust. If it's a revocable trust, you don't have to put it in here because that can be revoked at any time. Assets transferred to related parties within the past 2 years. This is where you'll disclose any, if you've answered previously that you've transferred a car or houses into any other parties within the last 2 years, this is where you'll disclose that information. We'll go ahead and hit none because we haven't transferred any property. Now we're done with our assets. So now let's look at our liabilities. So we'll look at loans on life insurance. We do have a term life insurance, but we don't have any loans on it. So we'll go ahead and hit none because we don't have any loans on our life insurance. And now we'll look at other liabilities. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to look at, okay, we have a loan on our motor vehicle. This is going to be by Rogue Loan, Capital One, let's say. And let's say I owe $4,000 left. Then we also have any other amounts. We'll say credit card debt, various. And we'll say I have $15,000 in credit card debt. So now I know I have student loans as well. So I'm going to hit save and enter more lines. So now we'll go to any other loans. So we'll say student loans. So you want to put that in there as well. Nail net, let's just say, and let's say it's 150,000 because I'm an engineer. Otherwise, you have loans secured by property other than the real estate or vehicles, unpaid taxes. So if you had a big tax bill due at the end of the year, you can put that on there. Any kind of other credits and any kind of liabilities you want to put on here. I'm done with these, so we can hit save and return. And now we know we're done with this. So these last 2 sections are just for informational purposes only. So this is where we'll get into our primary residence and retirement accounts. The reason that we grab this information is because the USDOT operates under a reasonable person standard. Basically, if we found out you have a large primary residence or a huge retirement account, if a reasonable person would think that the values of those purchases would exceed, would not, a reasonable person wouldn't conclude that you're economically disadvantaged, then that could put your eligibility into question. So that's the kind of standard, and that's the kind of reasons why we ask that, is to make sure that you're not, there's no hidden assets or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and fill in. So we do have a Charles Schwab IRA, and it's going to be worth 140,000. So then that does our IRA. If you have a 401k, you could put that in there, a SEP, anything like that. If you have questions about what the qualified retirement account is, ask your accountant. And then we'll look at our primary residence. So our address is 202 Naboo Crescent, Denver, Colorado, 80206. I acquired this on August 13th of 2015. Purchase price was 500,000. Present market value is 750,000. And then we'll say I use Zillow. So then that's your primary address. Okay. So now that this is all done, you see that step 1 and step 2 option popped up. So now you can view and download your completed form. So then here's your completed form. You can print this out, you can download it, you can make sure that this is all accurate and change any information in the forms, but this helps you guide through to find your whole net worth. And this is what you would need to upload. So once you're done with this and you print all of this out and you sign it, now you can attach the signed PNW. So you choose it, and luckily we already have this. So now you can see it here. So if I click on this, you can see I have everything downloaded here and signed. So then once that's complete, you can submit the PNW statement. And it'll verify that you want to do it. So now that it's done, it says it's 100% complete. So now you can also view your final PNW statement. If you need to make edits, you can withdraw your PNW statement. If you have any other customer support issues, you can click here. Otherwise, you can close your window to go back to your main page. So now you get back to the main page of your application. This is where you'll put in the ownership percentage, so we can verify all of that. So now that you have this, you can hit save. So now you have your total ownership percentage listed. You can add another PNW if you have multiple owners, but now you're not quite done. The last step you want to do is hit this marked section as complete. Otherwise, it's going to show up as red on your main document. So like if I'm done, I go to main, it's still going to show up as red. And that's because you have to click this marked section as complete. So once you mark the section as complete, you can say all qualified owners are listed. Yes. So now you're done. If you ever need to return to the edit mode, you can click on return to edit mode, edit each individual one to withdraw it, and go back in that sense. But now you're done. So now if you go back to your main page up here at the top, you can see that everything is complete. Everything is green as gold.